Ready up, operators. It's major time. Phase 1 of the Montreal Major is due to start today, and like with most Siege content creators, I gotta do something for it, so here I am, doing something about it. Like the last time we did this in Manchester, I'm gonna break down the playing bracket and take a not so educated stab at who makes it into Phase 2 of the Major and who gets eliminated here. And if my predictions last time are anything to go by, well, I'm gonna look the fool. Again. Now, before we get to any predicting, here's the bracket. Both sides of the bracket are surprisingly even, with one outlier on both sides, those being FearX and CL4L. Nevertheless, it should provide us some pretty interesting battles. First up, we have the old guard of Black Dragons versus the new upstarts in CL4L. Both of these teams are riding a wave of momentum from beating previous championship-winning teams, either major or world champions. In BD's case, their last match was against Furia, so the fact that they beat the world champs is still fresh in their minds, showing that they can still match up with the best. CL4L don't quite have the same luxury as that. Yes, they did beat Cloud9 Beast Coast in their LCQ run, and yes, they did beat two other NAL teams in Wildcard and OXG to make Montreal, but they don't play against them on a regular basis, not in the same way that Black Dragons do. That doesn't mean that they're going to be easy beats. I still think Black Dragons take this one. BD are just more battle-hardened against some of the best in the world. What's more, CL4L are playing with a stand-in, so team cohesion and synergy may not be the same as it was during the LCQ run. On to G2 and Cyclops. And this one's kind of a coin flip, if I'm being honest. Cyclops traditionally struggle at the international level and usually get eliminated in the group stage. G2, on the other hand, I feel are on a very sharp decline. For the second major in a row, they have not qualified straight to Phase 2 from the regular season and had to use the LCQ to even make the major in the first place. The smart money would be on G2, based purely on precedent and history. But there's something about them right now that makes me not trust them when it counts. As much as I want CAG to finally show some life, I still think G2 wins this. They got extremely lucky in their first match draw, but they cannot take BD lightly in the next match, or they will lose. Moving on to Alpha Team versus Team Falcons, and I honestly don't know how to call this one. Falcons are a strong team within MENA and are a capable roster, while Alpha took the crown of LATAM from Team Cruelty against all odds. I'm gonna go purely on gut feel for this one and say the Falcons win this, but not easily. Despite Alpha playing with two stand-ins, this squad is still worth paying attention to. However, I feel that the Falcons are just a little bit stronger in terms of raw firepower, and that's just going to be enough to see them over the line. But I don't think it's going to be enough in their next match against the winner of Chiefs versus FearX. And this might actually be the most difficult to pick, because while the Chiefs are in red-hot form from their first stage back in Siege, this is their first major as a team. Meanwhile, FearX have been at multiple lands at this point, and this roster has been together for the entire year up to this point, even though Nova was an analyst for Stage 2 and is back on the active roster shortly after Jax left. This might be my OS bias coming into play here, but I'm going to give it to the Chiefs. Why? Well, I'll give you one word. Jigsaw. Since he was brought back into the team, this man has single-handedly changed the dynamic of this roster. FearX will not go down without a fight. But the Chiefs have a point to prove here, especially if they want to say they're the same as GG, if not better. And so with all that out of the way, here are my predictions for the playing bracket. Black Dragons, the Chiefs, FearX, and I'll go Team Falcons for this last one. BD and Chiefs in the upper bracket, FearX and Falcons in the lower. I'm going to quickly speed through what my assumption of the lower bracket is going to be, and give you a couple of rapid-fire reasons as to why I think the other four teams get eliminated here. CL4L is fairly straightforward. They're a Tier 2 team that is going up against some of the best players and teams in the world. Essentially, they're minnows in a shark tank. However, I will still give them an outside chance of pulling a fours and making it into Phase 2 over the Falcons. They are very much the joker of this deck, which makes them unpredictable, and that might be enough to take their opponents by surprise if they play it right. CAG is also somewhat straightforward here. Yes, they did make it out of planes last time, but there's still no guarantee that they'll do it again. Even if they did somehow beat G2, their next opponent is likely going to be BD, which they're likely going to lose. And then they're likely going to face FearX in the lower bracket, which they're likely to lose. The precedent is set here, That's not good for these guys. With Alpha Team, the prospects just don't look good, full stop. They're already on the back foot with 3 men down, 2 stand-ins, and no sub. Even if they were at their full strength and they beat the Falcons, their next opponents is not going to be much easier. I really want this team to buck the trend for LATAM, but it's already looking like another short trip. As for G2, I just can't trust them right now. They have an objectively weaker roster than they did in Manchester, which I will remind you, they went home earlier than everyone expected. They weren't really challenged in the LCQ, which in this case is not a good thing. And if they do get sent down to the lower bracket at any point, their final match is likely going to be against Fear X, who sent them home in Manchester. I just don't see them making it out of play-ins at all. Now, having said that, they'll probably make it into the Swiss phase, knowing my luck. And so that does it for this predictions video. You'll notice that I haven't released my breakdown video yet. Don't worry, it is coming. But I needed more time with that one, so I'm switching my release order so I can still get this out in time for Playday 1 in Montreal. It is still coming. It's going to be a little bit outdated, but I promise everything's all written out. I just need to record and edit. So, again, I just need more time with that one. Until then, operators, this is your resident Silverwolf, signing out.